Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed.
Great to be here.
We're embarking on a deep dive today. Got a whole stack of recent cybersecurity sources from July 2025. Our mission, as always, is to cut through all the noise, pull out the really important nuggets of knowledge, and maybe uncover some, surprising facts about this hidden digital world all around us.
Definitely.
Today, you're in for, well, a fascinating and, I have to say, sometimes deeply concerning look at critical infrastructure, corporate accountability, and some very real personal privacy challenges.
It's certainly a rich collection of threats these sources bring up. And what's really crucial, I think, isn't just listing what happened,
Right.
but really digging into why these things matter. To you, the listener, to big companies, even, to national security.
Okay, let's unpack this first one then. It's truly alarming, a long-standing known vulnerability right in the American rail system.
Yeah, this one's pretty staggering.
CISA, that's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just disclosed a vulnerability. Apparently, it can be used to tamper with brakes on both passenger and freight trains.
What's fascinating here, or maybe disturbing is a better word, is that we're talking about a weakness the railroad industry has apparently known about for 2 decades.
20 years.
20 years, yeah. Despite researchers, government folks trying to get it fixed, it's still there. It just highlights this huge challenge,
Yeah.
balancing profits, innovation, and just basic public safety.
That's, astonishing. So to give you a picture, there's this device. It's called a FLA-FRD, flashing rear end device.
Or EOT, end of train device.
Right, EOT. It replaced the old caboose. It talks wirelessly to the HOD, the head of train device in the engine. Collects data from like a mile away. But here's the kicker, the flaw. These devices, they're old. They have zero encryption. No authentication.
Which basically means from a cyber standpoint, they're just wide open. Anyone with the right gear can talk to them.
Exactly. A hacker, right, with a software-defined radio. And get this, it costs less than $500.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, less than $500. They could just be nearby, within radio range, and send a command to that EOT device telling it to just slam on the emergency brakes.
Which will almost certainly cause a derailment.
That's what the sources indicate, likely derailment. And that this isn't new. A researcher found this way back in 2012, tried to get the American Association of Railroads to fix it. Nothing.
Right.
Then another researcher presented it at DEF CON in 2018, laid out all the technical details. Still, nothing.
And the sources say the very first report was actually 2005.
20 years ago. Unbelievable.
So why? I mean, what do the sources suggest about why, after all these warnings, public disclosures even, it's still not fixed? It just feels like systemic neglect.
Well, the sources float a few ideas, but they don't really pick a side. They do mention a Boston Review story from back in 2016 that flat out accused the industry of putting profits ahead of safety. And the scale here is huge. We're talking roughly 25,000 of those head-of-train devices and maybe 45,000 of the end-of-train devices out there.
That's a massive attack surface.
And it's not just theory. You might be thinking, okay, has this actually happened? Yes. In 2023, 20 different trains were disrupted. A hacker just sending control signals over that unencrypted radio frequency.
So that brings up the Federal Railroad Administration, the FRA. They're part of the Department of Transportation.
Right.
Their whole job is supposed to be making and enforcing rail safety rules, doing research. They regulate all U.S. passenger and freight rail. So this inaction, it really does point to that bigger challenge we mentioned, balancing safety and other pressures.
Right. So the question the sources raise is, why has the DOT let this sit for 2 decades? Is it incompetence? Something else. They don't say definitively, but it makes you question the regulatory oversight for sure.
Definitely makes you wonder.
Okay, so we've seen physical infrastructure risks. Let's pivot now to a different kind of threat. This one exploits human vulnerability, fast-moving tech, and honestly, it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
And pretty disturbing.
You're talking about the Nudify apps.
Exactly. Nudify apps.
Yeah, this is where generative AI has just poured gasoline on the fire of online abuse, really forces us to look at corporate ethics.
And these apps, I mean, they do exactly what you'd guess from the name. Someone uploads a photo, maybe of a classmate they want to bully. Puts in a credit card, clicks a button, and boom, downloads a deep fake nude image of that person. It gets spread around, used for shaming, bullying. The sources mention it's even led to suicide in some cases. It's just horrendous.
Truly horrific. And the sources rightly point out one effective angle here is to follow the money.
That's the key insight, yeah. Wired magazine looked into 85 of these apps, just a sample, right?
Right, just a fraction probably.
And found they average combined 18.5 million visitors a month. Estimated revenue, maybe $36 million a year just from those 80. And here's where the big tech companies come in. Most rely on services from Google, Amazon, Cloudflare. Like 62 of the 85 used Amazon or Cloudflare hosting. 54 used Google sign-on.
Plus payment processors, social media ads.
Exactly, all that infrastructure.
So even though some states are starting to make creating or sharing these illegal, actually catching the people doing it is hard.
Very hard.
And once that image is online, getting it down is,
yeah,
damn near impossible sometimes, which really shows the limits of just passing laws without tackling the corporate enablers.
Totally. And it wasn't until mainstream media basically called them out that Amazon and Google put out statements saying, oh, this violates our terms, we'll investigate.
After the fact.
After the fact. Generative AI has absolutely supercharged these things, made them easy, accessible. Interestingly, most visitors from the U.S., then India, Brazil, Mexico, Germany. Oh, and another lovely twist, Russian hackers are apparently setting up fake Nudify sites just to lure people in and hit them with malware.
Good grief. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just hammers home that struggle for accountability in tech, self-regulation. Clearly not enough when there's this much money potentially involved.
So there's this new law, the Take It Down Act. It says tech companies have to remove this kind of content within 48 hours of being notified.
Okay, that sounds promising, but...
Big but. There's no appeals process. So what's to stop a competitor from just falsely reporting another site to get it taken down?
Potential for abuse.
Yeah. The sources suggest maybe bigger penalties are needed, like the fines they have in Europe, up to 10% of global revenue.
Oh, that might get their attention.
That kind of money could actually incentivize them to proactively shut these things down.
Makes sense.
So shifting gears again, what does all this mean for, say, your personal finances? Let's talk large-scale cybercrime. Specifically, crypto theft.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is seeing cybercrime evolve. It's not just about money anymore. It's a geopolitical tool. And the lack of regulation and insurance in crypto, it creates these unique vulnerabilities, transfers almost all the risk straight to the user.
The numbers are pretty stark. Chainalysis, they track blockchain stuff, right?
And they're a major player.
They report over $2 billion in crypto stolen just in the first half of 2025. That's already more than all of 2024.
Already surpassed last year, wow.
Yeah. And a huge chunk, $1.5 billion, came from one hack, the Bybit exchange hack, apparently linked to North Korea. If this keeps up, we're looking at maybe $4 billion lost this year.
And where are these attacks happening? The sources point to two main areas, right?
Right. First, attacks on the crypto exchanges themselves. Often they rush software out the door, first to market, and it's full of bugs.
Classic security trade-off. Speed versus safety.
Exactly. The second is attacks on personal crypto wallets. A lot of people holding crypto, they aren't necessarily info security pros. So they're vulnerable to social engineering, phishing, software bugs.
Which raises that tough question. How much is the user's responsibility versus the platform they're using?
Totally. And we're even seeing nation-states getting involved directly. Israel reportedly attacked Iran's crypto industry, vaporized something like $90 million last month.
Geopolitical cyber warfare, essentially.
And North Korea, they just keep tweaking their attack methods. The sources make a good point. Stealing crypto, it's relatively easy. You can do it from anywhere, much lower risk than robbing a physical bank.
Which brings us to probably the most critical point for anyone holding crypto or thinking about it.
Yeah.
Liability.
Yes. This is crucial. Wallet makers. According to the sources, zero liability. Doesn't matter why you lost your crypto. Exchanges, often, no liability either. And unlike your bank account,
insurance.
No FDIC equivalent. Customers are not insured. Let me just repeat that because the sources really stress it. If your crypto gets stolen, you are not insured. You, the user, own 100% of the risk of loss.
So the advice is pretty blunt.
Yeah. Only invest what you are genuinely okay with losing completely. Worst case, it goes to zero. Don't, as they put it, bet your house, or you could end up homeless.
Stark warning.
Very.
Keeping your systems safe is super important as businesses rely more and more on digital systems, and that's where turnkey cybersecurity can really help.
Yeah, we're here to help small businesses just like yours make sure they're safe and sound in this crazy world of cybersecurity. And we offer a whole suite of services specifically tailored for you. So that's ensuring CMMC compliance and doing penetration testing. We also run vulnerability scans, and we can help you develop a comprehensive risk assessment.
And it doesn't stop there, right?
No, it doesn't.
We handle incident response, should the unfortunate happen, and we guide you through migrations like GCC. We just want to make sure your transitions are smooth and that you're secure.
It's all about peace of mind, right? You focus on what you do best, running your business, and we'll make sure that your digital world is safe and sound. Okay, let's wrap things up with a sort of rapid fire round. Some other really critical and sometimes surprising cybersecurity news bites from July. First up, some concerning stuff around data leaks and AI weirdness.
Right. This section really drives home how, digital risks are just everywhere now. National security, your personal habits, everything.
So there was this special government employee, Marco Les, worked on systems for Treasury, Social Security, Homeland Security.
Okay, high-level access.
Yeah, and he apparently published some code to GitHub that contain a private API key for XAI models, including Grok. He took the key down, but, and this is key, it wasn't revoked. So it's almost certainly out there, circulating on the dark web now. Big slip up.
That's a textbook example, isn't it? A seemingly small human error handling sensitive data, but with potentially huge, long-lasting consequences.
Yeah.
Especially with powerful AI models involved, human error is still such a huge factor.
Absolutely. Next, a lesson in reading the fine print. WeTransfer, the file sharing service.
Here.
They quietly changed their terms of service, basically saying they could use content you send through them to train AI models.
Oh, okay. People probably weren't thrilled.
No. Caused a massive fury online. WeTransfer then issued a clarification, but the sources kind of suggest the original terms were pretty clear. Bottom line, you gotta read those TOS agreements.
Always good advice. Often ignored, but good advice.
And finally, in Germany, an IT guy at Deutsche Bank let his girlfriend into a server room multiple times. Let her use his laptop on the bank network.
Oh, dear. I think I know where this is going.
Yep. He is no longer employed there, predictably.
These just highlight that human element again, don't they? Carelessness, not knowing the rules, maybe deliberately breaking them. It bypasses all the fancy tech defenses.
For sure. Okay, shifting to vulnerabilities in everyday tech. AMD has a new CPU flaw. Affects both their big data center chips, EPYC, and the desktop ones, Ryzen. There's apparently been some back and forth, some fisticuffs, as one source put it, between CrowdStrike and AMD about how bad it is. But it needs a microcode fix.
Ah, okay. So that's a low-level firmware update baked into the chip itself.
Right, which means it'll take a while for computer makers to actually test it, integrate it, roll it out to users.
Right, not a quick patch. This really brings up an important question about privacy, doesn't it? Especially as AI gets baked into more and more of our personal devices. What trade-offs are we making, maybe without even realizing it?
Precisely. And speaking of which, get this. Google Gemini, if it's running on your device, it can now apparently read your messages, even supposedly encrypted WhatsApp messages.
Wait, even encrypted ones? How cool.
If Gemini is running on the device itself, it seems it can access them before or after the encryption happens, maybe through accessibility services or screen reading. The only way to stop it, according to the sources, delete the Gemini app.
That's concerning. Wow. Okay.
For companies using ServiceNow, there's a design flaw in how it handles access controls. Can't be fixed with a simple patch. IT teams have to go in and manually change rules.
More work for IT.
Yep, and public EV charging stations, watch out. They can be hit with man-in-the-middle attacks. Someone intercepts the communication.
So they could steal charging credits. Or maybe payment info.
Both. Steal charging dollars, actual money, maybe data passed through that two-way link between the car and the charger.
It's clear, isn't it?
Right.
Pretty much any connected device, any service we use daily is a potential way in for attackers, often in ways we just don't think about.
Totally. Even your car radio. Or the infotainment center. There's a hack called Perfect Blue. Lets hackers pull contact info from your phone if it's connected.
Okay, not great, but maybe not critical.
Doesn't seem to be lethal, yeah. Like, they can't take over steering, thankfully. But still. Plus, keyless car theft. The methods just keep evolving. Thieves are always finding new ways.
Always a cat and mouse game.
Okay, quick look at the legal and regulatory front. TikTok Global is suing its parent company, ByteDance, and the founder for $58 billion.
$58 billion. Wow. What's the claim?
Antitrust violations, conspiracy. Basically accusing ByteDance of trying to illegally maintain control of TikTok's U.S. operations, especially with this potential ban looming.
Interesting power struggle.
And Meta investors settled that big $8 billion privacy lawsuit with Zuckerberg over Cambridge Analytica.
Ah, I remember that one.
Yeah. The settlement apparently happened mainly to avoid having Zuck and other execs actually testify under oath.
Makes sense. These increasing lawsuits and regulations show there's a push, maybe a slow one, but a push for more accountability, better security across industries. Social media, finance,
Definitely. For companies regulated by New York's DFS, those last two really tough requirements for DFS 500 kick in this November. Multi-factor authentication and having a really accurate documented inventory of assets with specific details.
That inventory one is harder than it sounds.
Oh, yeah. And defense contractors. Big change. They are now officially liable for making sure their subcontractors comply with CMMC, the Cybersecurity Maturity Model certification.
So the responsibility flows down the supply chain.
Exactly. Subs have to have their scores posted in SPEARS, that government database. Big companies like Lockheed are apparently doing their own checks on their suppliers now, too.
That's a significant shift.
Age-appropriate design code laws, trying to protect kids online. California's hit First Amendment problems. Now Vermont and Nebraska are trying slightly different legal wording to get around those issues.
Tricky legal territory.
Paris prosecutors asked police to join an investigation into Twitter, or X, and the FBI seized a website that was used for sharing pirated and unreleased video games.
Busy month on the legal front.
Yeah. Lastly, some geopolitical cyber action and just odd incidents. China is claiming that foreign intelligence agencies colluded with domestic lawbreakers to steal critical rare earth elements.
Okay, blaming outsiders.
Calling it a serious threat to China's national security. There was also an attack targeting Russian developers who modify those commercial DJI drones to make them more lethal. The attack stopped them from loading the weaponizing firmware onto the drones.
Huh. Interesting counter-cyber move there.
Yeah.
These diverse issues really just hammer home how digital risks permeate everything, right? National security down to individual choices.
Totally. And on a slightly lighter, maybe cautionary note, a Chinese hacker got arrested in Italy. Why? Because of a U.S. red notice flagged him at the border. Just highlights that sometimes even sophisticated hackers make basic real-world mistakes.
Not always the brightest outside their specific skill set, maybe.
Seems so. We also heard Ingram Micro, the huge tech distributor, was down for at least a week or two. Cause? A compromised VPN. Just shows that sometimes the bigger companies can actually be easier targets.
Yeah. Bigger attack surface, more complex systems.
Yeah.
It's not just an amusing anecdote about the hacker getting caught, though. It really points to how deeply embedded these digital footprints are becoming, even in the most mundane parts of life. Every connected device is basically a data collector.
You are absolutely right. And maybe the most unexpected story illustrating that. A husband got caught cheating. How? His smart toothbrush tracked his brushing habits, showed him brushing at home when he claimed he was at work.
A smart toothbrush. You can't make this stuff up.
I know. And one more wild one. Researchers tricked ChatGPT, played a kind of guessing game with it, and got it to reveal a valid Windows product ID key belonging to Wells Fargo.
How on earth?
They speculate it must have been scraped from somewhere like GitHub during training and ended up in the model's data.
Wow. That raises a really important question, doesn't it? With all these invisible digital threads connecting everything, how can organizations actually navigate this complexity? What does responsible tech engagement even look like anymore?
Wow. Yeah. That was a packed deep dive, wasn't it?
It really was. Covered a lot of ground.
From trains to toothbrushes. Literally, we hit a huge amount of information. Hopefully you listening had a few aha moments there. Our goal, really, is just to give you that shortcut, help you stay informed without having to sift through everything yourself.
It's just so clear. The lines between technology, our privacy, our security, they're blurring more every single day. Thinking critically about the tools we use, the data they vacuum up, it's just becoming essential.
So here's something to chew on as you go about your day. What part of your daily life, now that you know a bit more about all these invisible digital threads connecting everything, what part do you maybe need to rethink?